Good evening, everyone. Welcome to California Today. I'm David Lam. Here's a preview of some of our top stories. As the holiday fireworks celebrations wrap up, cities and counties reveal that their first responders were kept busy answering fire and medical emergencies last night. The California Reparations Task Force has over 100 proposals for the state. We'll take a closer look at some of its recommendations. Over the holiday weekend, hotel workers held a strike to voice their demands. But the workers are now back on the job as labor discussions continue. As 4th of July celebrations wrapped up last night, cities and counties are now reporting the aftermath of the festivities. First responders answered multiple emergency calls, and an alert had been put out for poor air quality. Here's more.
While people were out celebrating July 4th, firefighters and other first responders were busy keeping local communities safe. Cities around the Bay Area reported fires, many due to fireworks being set off in neighborhoods. In Contra Costa County alone, the area saw 58 fires last night, 50 of which were suspected to have been caused by fireworks. In addition to fires, cities up and down the state also received EMS calls. This included at least one serious hand injury caused by fireworks in Northern California and a young boy who was struck by a stray bullet while watching fireworks in South Los Angeles. And with all the fireworks that went off last night, a particulate advisory was issued for Tuesday, extending into Wednesday. The South Coast Air Quality Management District said poor air quality is expected amid holiday fireworks.
The California Reparations Task Force proposed over 100 recommendations. Its purpose is to make up to the African American population who were descendants of slavery. Let's take a look at some of the more prominent proposals.
After 2 years, the California Reparations Task Force proposed 100 recommendations in a document over 1,000 pages. Among them is a call to eliminate child support debt for Black residents. They claim there is a larger percentage of Black Californians who owe child support debt than their proportion of the state's population. They also claim that 10% interest hinders them from paying to go to school, finding jobs, and housing. Another item on their recommendations list is banning police from public disorder offenses like urinating in public. The group claims law enforcement should ignore low-level, non-violent offenses since most of the people who commit them are homeless or have mental health issues. In addition, the task force recommends the state pay over $225 billion in damages for alleged incarceration-related racism. They believe Black California residents who were victims of war on drugs since 1970 should be compensated for health harms dating back to the 1850s, housing discrimination, and mass incarceration.
A trustee of Woodland Joint Unified School District escaped censure during a recent board meeting after she criticized the direction of transgender ideology. There was much debate. Here's that story. Emily McDonald, a trustee of Woodland Joint Unified School District, avoided censure during a June 28th board meeting. After making controversial comments on transgender identification in June, she was called for censoring by the YOLO Democratic Party and Pride Club. During a June 15th meeting, McDonald warned about the irreversible transgender procedures and cautioned about exposing children.
I believe that we will soon follow the lead of our European brothers and sisters in recognizing that in our efforts to normalize transgender identification, we have had unintended consequences, and a reassessment is required. We must act with great caution in order to protect the increasing numbers of children who are experiencing transgender procedures as a result of social contagion.
The comments upset some members of the public. McDonald told the Epoch Times that one of her friend's daughter had top surgery and started taking cross-sex hormones.
10 years later, she's a lesbian, but she doesn't have breasts and she can't have kids. And I really feel like the adults in the room did her wrong. They didn't tell her, hold on just a second, wait until you're not a teenager anymore. Let's think about this for a minute. Don't go chopping bits of yourself off. Maybe you're not feeling so good right now, but this too shall pass. And I felt like somebody needed to say that, that it's not something that we should be celebrating wholesale all the time.
She said she has received about 8 letters calling her a bigot.
Most people who have kids in school are afraid to speak out, because if you stand up at the board meeting and say, I agree, we've taken this transgender stuff too far, then the mob with pitchforks is going to come after you, just like they're coming after me right now.
Some people said that her comments hurt them and their children. Some demanded that she resigned or they would try to recall her.
I am calling for Trustee McDonald's immediate resignation from this board. As a member of our school board, you are entrusted to serve all of Woodland's students and create an environment that fosters an understanding, self-acceptance, and inclusion. Your remarks betrayed that trust. I can no longer trust you in the best interest of my children.
Upsetting some members of the LGBT community, 2 groups emailed the Board of Trustees calling McDonald's remarks hate speech and demanded mandatory LGBT training, while others support McDonald and cite freedom of speech.
The demands for this board member's so-called re-education through so-called anti-bias training is anti-democratic and is a blatantly Marxist communist tactic to intimidate and silence opposing views now and in the future.
McDonald said that she's not sure how she could be censured for stating her opinion and that she refuses to take a re-education class. Getting room service took a little longer than usual for some travelers in California this July 4th holiday. But now, hotel workers are back to work following a strike over the holiday weekend.
Workers who picketed 19 major Southern California hotels over the long holiday weekend were back on the job Wednesday, but their union warned that more walkouts could come at any time. Roughly 15,000 employees at 65 major hotels in the Los Angeles area walked off the job last Sunday. The union representing the workers says they have been in talks since April over issues including an immediate $5 per hour raise and better health care and retirement benefits. Among the hotels affected by the strike, the W Hollywood, Beverly Hilton, Sheraton Grand, and the LA Grand. A Marriott spokesperson released a statement saying it will work toward a fair labor agreement and have protocols in place to keep their doors open. And speaking of strikes, plans for thousands of actors to join the picket line against studios and streaming services are now on hold until July 12th. If the Screen Actors Guild, American Federation of Television and Radio Artists, does go on strike, they will join 11,000 members of the Writers Guild of America, who have already been on strike for 2 months. Meanwhile, the Writers Guild is nearing the 9-week mark in its dispute with the studios and streaming outlets.
We'll take a short break now, everybody, but here's what we have for you when we come back. The cost of living in Southern California is going up. You could be making $80,000 a year and still be considered low income. The city of Huntington Beach just approved their new budget plan after a lawsuit and criticism from several residents. And Southern California's Ronald Reagan Library is honoring the first female astronaut with a new statue. The space traveler is described as inspirational and someone who always reached for the stars. Those stories and more coming up on California Today. Welcome back to California Today, everybody. I'm your host, David Lamb. California's cost of living report reveals that $80,000 a year is considered low income in Orange County. That's an increase of $4,000 since last year.
It makes Orange County the most expensive place to live in all of Southern California. The average median single household income for Orange County is just under $130,000 per year. In Los Angeles County, the low-income bracket for single residents lands around $70,000. The area's median income for that demographic is just under $100,000. The cost of living has increased in most California counties. Statewide, the median single household income in California is now $110,000. New reports say California remains among the top 3 most expensive states to live in nationally, topped only by New York and Hawaii.
Now, staying on the topic of finances, city councilors in Huntington Beach finally approved the fiscal year budget, which began on July 1st. The budget proposal had been met with controversy by several residents due to a multi-million-dollar surplus that could potentially cut some of the city's services.
On June 26, Huntington Beach City Councilors unanimously approved their 2023 to 2024 fiscal year budget. But the posted proposal attracted many concerned residents due to the reported $5.4 million surplus that showed the possibility of some services being cut, including shutting down 3 city libraries, reduced city landscaping, and maintenance and cleaning of beach bathrooms. According to an email sent by Councilmember Dan Kalmick, the deficit for next year was the result of having to budget for an approximate $8 million settlement agreement with the operators of the Pacific Air Show. The air show was subsequently shut down due to the October oil spill-off of Huntington Beach's coast. During the meeting, many residents criticized the city for withholding information about the settlement, which has been an ongoing issue prior to the budget proposal. But City Attorney Michael Gates says a lot of residents have been misinformed.
I think a lot of the misinformation that's out there in the public is created by a couple of council members on the city council in particular who really were against the air show settlement from the get-go.
In June, one local resident filed a lawsuit against Huntington Beach, citing allegations that the city is refusing to provide the settlement document request in full per the California Public Records request. But Gates disagrees and says the city has already released the legally required information and that the lawsuit is meritless and frivolous.
What we released were the terms of the agreement. We released those pursuant to state law. State law does not say anywhere that we are required to disclose the entire agreement. If the legislature intended the disclosure of the entire settlement agreement in all cases, in all circumstances, the legislature would have said that and put that in the law.
Also during the meeting, several speakers criticized the council's approval of 4 new positions for the city attorney's office, totaling $687,000. Gates says his office has needed the additional resources due to increased legal demands, and in-house attorneys would be more beneficial and affordable for the city.
$675,000 for those 4 positions is a pretty light burden. Actually, if you were to compare it to what it would cost to outsource those exact same positions, in other words, if we were to hire those outside at a law firm, we would need to budget more than $2 million a year in order to get the same amount of work from an outside firm for those needs.
Gates has helped the city win several large lawsuits, so the council majority says the new positions are justified.
Our attorneys do good work. We actually produce, and we're producing positive cash flow back to Huntington Beach from some of our lawsuits. In addition to that, we've saved, just from our legal work alone, we've saved or defended about $200 million in just through our legal work alone since 2014.
Just before the meeting, city staff produced a revised document which ultimately removed many of the controversial cuts. Some of the approved cuts include reducing the replacement of city equipment such as security cameras, halting plans to upgrade code enforcement sedans to trucks, reducing City Hall open hours, and terminating the city's ice rink contract at Pier Plaza.
And to wrap up the evening, the Ronald Reagan Library is known for honoring a variety of American heroes, and they've done it again by paying tribute to a space traveler. This class of 1978 NASA employee dreamed big, and always reached for the stars. Here's Entity's Christina Corona to tell us more from Southern California's Simi Valley.
On Tuesday, the Ronald Reagan Library honored NASA astronaut Sally Ride. Ride made history more than 40 years ago on June 18, 1983, when she became the first American woman to fly in space aboard the Space Shuttle Challenger's STS-7 mission, along with 4 male crewmates. Sally Ride's sister, Bear Ride, tells us that her older sibling was always academically inclined.
She was always very serious about her studies and enjoyed science. She loved science and always was full of adventure. When she graduated from college, she got her PhD in astrophysics and then became an astronaut. So her life was really quite fulfilling in that way. And now the family is so proud to be here.
Before becoming a spacewoman, Ride was passionate about sports.
When she was younger, she was an excellent tennis player. She was a nationally ranked tennis player, and she was always very, very athletic. She used to play baseball with the kids on the street, like we used to do here, and they never really believed that she was going to be very good because she was a girl, but she turned out to be the best.
Stephen Barber had the chance to honor one of his heroes by creating the Sally Ride Monument. He did this in part to show that everyone who puts in the effort can achieve their dreams, goals, and aspirations.
Sally epitomizes what anybody can do. If you have a dream and you wake up every morning and you swing the bat and you're focused on that dream, in America you cannot fail. And she is the living spirit of that kind of dream. So now young women for the first time are going to see a monument that looks like them, of a woman reaching to the stars, because only 1% of the monuments in America represent female achievement, and we need to change that.
Former NASA Administrator Charles Bolden said, quote, "Sally Ride broke barriers with grace and professionalism and literally changed the face of America's space program." Christina Corona, NTD News, Simi Valley.
Now let's check in with Entity's Carlos Reyes for your sports segment.
This is your California Sports Roundup. We have some exciting scores to cover today. I'm Carlos Reyes. As a part of a soccer-loaded 4th of July weekend, the San Jose Earthquakes took on the LA Galaxy in the 97th edition of the California Clasico. After an intense 90 minutes, both teams played to a 2-2 draw on Saturday night at Stanford Stadium in Stanford, California. After conceding in the 31st minute on a Galaxy corner kick, the Quakes found the equalizer in the 42nd minute from midfielder Jack Scahan. Defender Carlos Acapo intercepted a pass at the top of the box and found Scahan, who redirected it into the net. Los Angeles retook the lead in the 47th minute with a goal from Preston Judd, but San Jose battled back to find the equalizer in the 81st minute from forward Cristian Espinosa. Midfielder Jackson Yule laid off the ball to Espinosa to fire away for the equalizer. The Earthquakes will now prepare to face Los Angeles Football Club on the road on Saturday, July 8th. In front of an MLS record crowd of over 82,000 supporters, Ricky Puig's 73rd minute goal gave the Los Angeles Galaxy a 2-1 victory over visiting rivals Los Angeles FC on Tuesday at the Rose Bowl in Pasadena, California. The announced crowd of 82,110 die-hard soccer fans marked the highest single match attendance in MLS history. The previous record was 74,479 in attendance at Charlotte FC's inaugural home match on March 5th of 2022, which coincidentally also involved the Galaxy. LA Galaxy midfielder Tyler Boyd shared his thoughts about the win post-game.
Yeah, it was special. On the 4th of July, I'm half American, so I'm kind of patriotic as well, and just listening to that national anthem with so many people singing it was special. To break the attendance record, to get a win, just a magical night. I'm really blessed to be here. I'm so happy to be back in America, and yeah, it was a special occasion, and everything happens for a reason. I guess that rain happened for a reason.
The latest installment of the Los Angeles El Tráfico rivalry delivered an exciting match for the record crowd, highlighted by Puig's decisive play. Tyler Boyd put the Galaxy ahead in the 26th minute on a superbly aimed shot from the corner of the box. Taking a pass from Puig, Boyd had space to turn and fire across the box and right into the top right corner. Ilya Sanchez had Los Angeles FC's lone goal, leveling the score in the 57th minute. After an uninspiring performance in the first half, LAFC came out and dominated in the first 15 minutes after the halftime break, highlighted by Sanchez's header deflection. With the score tied 1-1, a pass downfield found Boyd on the far side, and Puig outpaced two LAFC players while racing up the middle of the field. Boyd's cross found the streaking Puig, whose sliding touch delivered his second goal of the season. Now over to the baseball diamond, where Xander Bogaerts and Jay Cronenworth hit back-to-back homers off Shohei Ohtani, while Joe Musgrove allowed 1 run in 7 innings as the Padres defeated Los Angeles in San Diego. Cronenworth and Bogaerts each finished with 3 RBIs for a second straight game. The 4, 5, and 6 hitters in the Padres batting order, Manny Machado, Bogaerts, and Cronenworth, went 8 for 10, with 2 home runs, 2 doubles, 2 walks, 7 RBIs, and 5 runs. Before the game, the Angels announced All-Star center fielder Mike Trout will miss 4 to 8 weeks with a fractured hamate bone in his left hand. Then Ohtani and third baseman Anthony Rendon departed early due to injuries. We wish all of them a speedy recovery and the best of luck moving forward. Padres 8, Angels 5.
That is it for today's sports. Thank you for watching. I'm Carlos Reyes.
Thanks, Carlos. All right, everyone, that's all we've got for you tonight. We'd like you to join us again on California Today every weekday at 8 p.m. Make sure to check out our broadcasts at ntd.com/California-today. You'll find all of our top latest clips there, ready to share with friends and family. Send us a message on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, Ganjing World, or through our email, california.today@ntd.com. If you'd like to share a news tip or let us know how we're doing, we'd love to hear from you. I'm David Lamb. Have a wonderful evening.